All right, yesterday I uploaded a video of the inside of a BC348, and this is a J model, and it's a Wells Gardner, okay? And it's a lot different. You still have the harness in this area, but it's a lot easier to follow, all right? And instead of a bunch of little tiny capacitors, you have one big one. And then this harness wire here, this goes to the dynamotor. Now, the other video, you may have seen the dynamotor in the back, big black thing. I didn't get into that. I wanted to show you certain things, the way this thing's built like a brick. And different things that other people don't show you. They show you one, they show you it working, and they massage the dials. I'm showing you what's inside of it, and I'm telling you this radio is not like any other radio you've ever had before, unless you've had other military radios. But this one is in much nicer shape inside. It's got some other problems though. The first thing what happened was when I went to do the selector, I had to take this apart, and as you can see, it works really nice. And it looked like it should look really nice. But what was wrong was this was forced after it was really tight. Someone had hit this like this down, and this was all seized up. And all I had to do was undo the bolt, take this off, lift it up a little bit, and now it's working, okay? And that's the stuff you dread. Now, on eBay, when I did look at it, the guy did some really good angle shots to make it look a lot better. Now, as you can see, the front panel doesn't have any extra holes in it. Okay? It's all original. These are your headphone jack. Got to remember, this radio powers a headphone. If you come off with a headphone jack to a filament transformer, to the primary side, the secondary side, the less winding side to the speaker, this will power a speaker very nicely. Don't gut the radio and change the output transformer just to get it to go directly to a speaker. Get yourself a filament transformer, or you may even find one of them old speakers that has a transformer on it and use that. But this is a different brand. It's actually not different, it's a different maker, and it's a slightly newer, so it's got a lot of different things. But what happened to me was, I was on eBay, and I was looking at 4 different units, and I don't need another radio, but I need something to work on. And I went a few months with saying to myself, I was going to find another hobby that I enjoyed, and I couldn't do it. And I just ended up, let me look at another one of these. I only had one of these, and I really didn't get to play with it because I recapped it. I built this. I didn't have to build a power supply for it. It came with a dynamotor, which would be back in this corner. Go look at the other video. You see a dynamotor back in here, a big black thing. And like I said, 24 volts DC from the aircraft, light all the tubes. And then the 28 volts also turns this motor generator set, which they call a dynamotor, and that creates like 250 volts DC, and that's used for the plates. Now, what I didn't notice, what I was noticing was how good a shape the radio was in on the outside. And I'm going back and forth between like 4 different units on eBay. And what I failed to miss is this unit has no tubes in it. Okay, no tubes. And the mechanism, let me put the knob back on that. Oh, sure, now it won't grip the bolt. Okay, it looks so, see how it comes in here, it goes to 90 degrees, and that's the shaft that goes down through these guys. All right, I want to show you what you're going to get into. Now, this thing works really nice now that I fixed the knob. Okay, it must have been hit or dropped on its face, and this whole front mechanism was all jammed up. And just by undoing that knob, I freed that up. But what happens is you get these dealers, and they have 4 and 5 of these at a time, and they move parts around and give you a whole unit, and then they sell that for $500. And then as you have less and less, they have less and less parts. What happens is they'll stick something nice on it. Like I called this a fixture. It's actually a rack. All right, now this is the bottom rack, and here's the hole that there's studs on the bottom of this thing, like spears, and they go in that and they pull it down. And this has been dropped. You can tell the way this is bent up a little bit. It's been dropped. But this is the thing that should have the Jones plug on the back, and it don't. Okay, it's sort of like a Mr. Haney. When you buy stuff on eBay, you know, would you like the tubes with that, Mr. Douglas? Would you like the tubes? You know, you buy the radio, and now you don't have the tubes. And some of these guys get real big money for a unit that only have a dynamotor in it. And I told you, I bought that one from a guy, and someone told me, go buy it nows. And it was one for $300. And it looked like everything was there, and I hit buy it now, and I bought it. And like I said, I told you last time, the guy said the dynamotor had a dent in it, so he sent me a different unit. It's different than the pictures, and I'm like, I'm going to be screwed, but I wasn't. And all that radio basically needed was a power supply to run the dynamotor, and it needed to be recapped. But I want to tell you, if you buy one of these and it's missing parts, you're screwed, because you got to get the exact same make and model in order to get the parts. Okay? And you may remember on the other one, it had a hatch on it, on this oscillator, had a hatch with a screw. This unit don't have that. Okay? Now they might have figured out a way to keep the oscillator from drifting without having a hatch on it. I don't know. All I know is this thing's in really nice shape. It's just missing the tubes. So I have to sit down and decide how I want to buy the tubes. And you say, well, you could take them out of my other unit. Well, that's one of the weird things. Let me get in position here. These 3 tubes, if you remember, are a amp. They had caps on the top. That's for the grid. This tube uses a tube where the grid comes out through the bottom. All right. So the tubes that are in the one I have that works won't work in this radio. That's why I'm warning you. I'm trying to tell you what the other guys don't tell you, because the other guys just buy one, and they buy a really good one, or someone gives them a really good one. They get a shelf queen, as they call it, and then they all they have to do is apply some voltage to it. Thing comes right on. They throw some knobs. They tell you the frequency ranges of the radio. They tell you all the things that aren't going to help you if you decide to buy one. The shock, besides the sticker shock, like I said, these things were $59 surplus. Basically, they're 10 times more now, with inflation and the fact that they've sat in somebody's cellar. And this one inside here is really, I mean, there's very little dust in here. So this has been in a really good environment. I might have had a tarp over it or whatever, but somebody at some point took all the tubes out, maybe knowing it was a good set, and they used it to fix another one. And now this sits here. It's a matter of me tracking stuff down. But if you're missing any part, or say one of those wafer switches inside one of these is bad, you have to get the exact model. And now you've got to have a parts radio. And sometimes there are parts radios on eBay, and they're usually rotted looking. You got to be real careful in the photos. You see too much rust on stuff, it's only going to get worse inside. Okay, because the outside of this radio is aluminum. You know, this thing has a dent here, and got to remember, this thing's over 50 years old. All right, it's over 70 years old actually, and it might be 1937. They started making these, something like that. It was before World War II they made these. And this is a late model. This is probably towards the end of World War II. So, but yeah, I just want to show you again inside, just so you're prepared. You know, it is a sharp radio. I'm going to tell you that much. It's really cool, and it could be quite the challenge. But you know, if it's just it's recapping, it wasn't easy. I told you about that the last time. There's certain things with it that you got to take your time, and that's why I bought another one to give me something to think about and do every day. All right, I didn't need another radio because there's really nothing on those frequencies to listen to anymore. But I do like radios. I like working with them, getting them working. And sometimes I bitch and moan, but a lot of times I really enjoy going down a rabbit hole and digging my way back up. I think that's it. All right, that's it.